August 17th, 1943. 10:47 a.m. 27,000 feet above Schweinfurt, Germany. The air is so thin it burns. Every breath through the oxygen mask tastes like rubber and metal and something else. The acrid chemical tang of fierce sweat that's been frozen thawed, frozen again in the recycled air of the cockpit. Major Egon Mayer's hands are steady on the control stick of his BF or 109G6, but there's ice crystallizing on his goggles where his breath escapes the mask. He blinks it away. Below him, the American bomber stream looks like a migration. Hundreds of silver insects crawling across the sky, their contrails writing equations of death in frozen vapor. He's about to solve one of those equations. In 11 minutes, he'll shoot down 9 B-17 flying fortresses. 9. Each one carrying 10 men. 90 human beings who woke up this morning in England thinking about bacon, coffee, letters from home. What he doesn't know yet, what he can't possibly understand as he positions his fighter for the attack run, is that those 11 minutes will teach him something that no amount of training, no tactical briefing, no victory could prepare him for. Something that will hollow him out from the inside. But first, the killing. Mayer isn't like the other aces. At 28, he's a tactician, not a glory hound. While men like Gallen chase personal scores, Mayer studies geometry, deflection angles, closure rates, the mathematics of murder at 300 miles per hour. He's been developing a new technique, something the Americans aren't expecting, something that violates every fighter doctrine taught at Luftwaffe flight school head-on attacks. Everyone knows you don't attack a B-17 from the front. The fortress bristles with .50 caliber machine guns, waist guns, ball turret, tail guns, top turret standard doctrine, attack from behind and below or above and behind, staying out of the overlapping fields of fire. Come at them from angles where their guns can't track you, but Mayer's done the math. He's studied the wreckage, interviewed the survivors, calculated the blind spots. The B-17's front profile, that beautiful deadly nose with its plexiglass greenhouse, it's the weak point. 2.50 cals in the nose, sure, but they're not synchronized. The bombardier and navigator firing them aren't trained fighter pilots. They're not expecting a Messerschmitt to come screaming at them head-on at a combined closure rate of 600 miles per hour. You have half a second to aim. Half a second where your 20mm cannon shells and their machine gun tracers are crossing the same point in space. Then you brake, dive, roll, anything. Or you collide and both aircraft disintegrate into a cloud of aluminum and flesh and aviation fuel that ignites before it hits the ground half a second. Mayer's practiced this. He's good at half seconds. He keys his radio. Achtung! Head-on attack pattern. Follow my lead on the brake. His voice is calm. It's always calm. Some of the younger pilots think he's cold. They don't understand that calmness is a choice he makes every morning when he puts on his flight suit. The alternative is thinking too much about what he's about to do. The bomber formation is perfect. Too perfect. The Americans fly in what they call a combat box. Staggered layers of B-17, each positioned so its guns can protect the others. It looks impenetrable from behind. But from the front, Mayer sees something else. He sees vectors, approach angles, windscreens catching the morning sun. He sees targets. His fighter gruppe is positioned perfectly, 6,000 feet above the bombers, sun at their backs. The Americans won't see them until it's too late, won't have time to adjust, to warn each other, to do anything but watch death approach at 300 meters per second. Mayer thinks, this is how you beat them, not courage, mathematics. He pushes the stick forward. The Messerschmitt's nose drops. The altimeter unwinds. 26,000 feet, 25,000. His speed builds. The engine screams. Behind him, 11 other fighters follow him into the dive, a wedge of German steel and fury. The bombers grow larger in his windscreen. He can see them now as individual aircraft. The slight variations in formation spacing, the way one fortress flies a little lower than the others. A rookie pilot maybe, or someone dealing with engine trouble, that one. He'll take that one first. 22,000 feet. The dive is nearly vertical now. His airspeed indicator quivers past 400 miles per hour. The G-forces press him into his seat. His vision tunnels slightly. Not enough to matter, just enough to narrow his focus to a single point. the plexiglass nose of the B-17 growing larger, impossibly large. He can see the bomber's nose guns now, 2 tiny barrels pointing at him. Somewhere behind that plexiglass is a 20-year-old kid from Nebraska or California, a bombardier who's done 20 practice runs and 2 combat missions, who's staring at a German fighter coming straight at him and whose hands are shaking so hard he can barely grip the gun handles. Mayer's hands don't shake, they never shake. 1,000 meters. His thumb hovers over the cannon trigger. Not yet. The geometry has to be perfect. Too early and the shells disperse, lose energy. Too late, and he won't have time to break away. 800 meters. He can see the pilot now, just a silhouette through the windscreen. The fortress is firing, orange tracers floating toward him like slow-motion fireflies. They look lazy at this distance. They're not. Each one is travelling at 2,800 feet per second. One passes 3 meters to his left, close enough that he can feel it in his bones, a compression wave in the air 600 meters. The fortress's nose guns open up. Muzzle flashes strobe in the plexiglass. The tracers seem to bend as they approach, an optical illusion caused by the closure rate. One shell sparks off his engine cowling. Another punches through his left wing, leaving a hole the size of a fist. 400 meters. His finger tightens, the 20mm cannon hammers. The entire aircraft shudders with the recoil. His tracers walk up the B-17's nose. Plexiglass exploding, metal tearing, pieces of the aircraft blowing backward in the slipstream. The bomber's right inboard engine erupts. Not smoke, flame. Pure, clean flame streaming back over the wing. 200 meters. Brake. Now. He slams the stick left and forward. The Messerschmitt rolling inverted, diving under the wounded fortress. The world spins. Sky, ground, bomber, sky. His vision greys at the edges from the G-forces. For one instant, inverted, he's looking up at the B-17's belly as he passes beneath it. He sees the bomb bay doors. They're open. Inside, rows of 500-pound bombs, still racked, still armed. Then he's past, rolling upright, pulling back on the stick. Bleeding speed, climbing back toward the formation. Behind him, the B-17 he just hit is already falling out of formation, its right wing folding upward as the fire reaches the fuel tanks. He doesn't watch it fall. He's already lining up the next one. The second attack is cleaner. He's refined the angle based on the first pass. This time his shells walk through the cockpit. The fortress's nose pitches down immediately. Pilot killed instantly. Co-pilot either dead or incapacitated, the aircraft already entering its final dive, 3rd bomber. 4th. 5th. Each attack takes between 45 and 60 seconds. Dive, approach, fire, brake, climb, reset. The Americans are reacting now, their formations loosening as pilots take evasive action. But there's only so much a 65,000-pound bomber can evade. They lumber through their turns like wounded animals. Mayer is a surgeon. Each attack is precise, calculated. He's not spraying bullets wildly. He's placing his cannon shells exactly where they need to go. Engines, cockpits, control surfaces. 6th fortress. The pilot sees him coming, tries to turn into the attack. It's the right instinct, makes Mayer's deflection shot harder. But the geometry still works. His shells rake the bomber from nose to wing root. The left wing separates. Just separates. Folds back against the fuselage and tears free, tumbling away like a leaf. 7th. 8th. His gun camera is recording everything. Later, the Luftwaffe intelligence officers will watch the footage with expressions of disbelief. 9 bombers in 11 minutes. It will be studied, analysed, turned into training doctrine. But that's later. Right now, in this moment, Mayer is pulling out of his 9th attack run. His ammunition counter shows empty. His fuel gauge is in the red. He's been in combat for exactly 11 minutes. 9 B-17s are falling out of the sky. Some are already gone. Fireballs and debris scattered across 30 miles of German countryside. Others are spiralling down, streaming smoke. Pilots fighting controls that no longer respond. Some crews are bailing out. Tiny figures tumbling through space, parachutes blossoming like white flowers against the blue. Mayer levels off at 24,000 feet. His hands are still steady. His breathing is still controlled. He's done what he came to do. And then he looks toward the horizon. What he sees next will break something inside him that no amount of training, courage, or ideology can repair. But to understand what happens next, you need to understand what Major Egon Mayer believes in this moment, what every German fighter pilot believes, the lie they tell themselves to make the killing bearable. The horizon is silver, not clouds, not haze, aircraft, hundreds of them, wave after wave of B-17 stretching from one edge of his vision to the other, their contrails weaving a white lattice across the August sky. Mayer counts the formations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loses count. Doesn't matter. There are too many. He's just shot down 9 American bombers, 9 complete crews, 90 men dead or captured or falling through 27,000 feet of empty air with silk parachutes that may or may not open, 9 flying fortresses that cost the Americans millions of dollars, thousands of man-hours, irreplaceable aluminum and rubber and aviation fuel, and they're already being replaced. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Right now, while the wreckage of his victims is still tumbling toward the earth, more B-17s are already over Germany. More than he shot down. More than his entire gruppe shot down. The Americans lost. He does quick mental arithmetic. Maybe 30 bombers in this attack, 30 aircraft, 300 men. The formations coming behind them number in the hundreds. Mayer's radio crackles. Granite leader, this is Granite 4, I'm Winchester. Returning to base. Winchester. No ammunition. The rest of his gruppe is calling in similar statuses. Fuel critical. Ammunition expended, 1 pilot reporting engine damage. They've done everything right, executed perfectly, achieved kill ratios that should be mathematically impossible, and the Americans are still coming. You need to understand what this means to him. Egon Mayer isn't a fanatic. He doesn't plaster his cockpit with Nazi propaganda or talk about Aryan supremacy and the pilot's mess. He's a professional, a technician. He fights because it's his job, because he's good at it, because Germany is his country and defending it is what soldiers do. But he believes, has to believe, that skill matters, that tactics matter, that 9 kills in 11 minutes matters. He keys his mic. All Granite elements reform at rally point, Victor 7. We're going home. His hands move through the familiar motions, trim tabs, throttle settings, course heading for the base at Wiesbaden-Erbenheim. The Messerschmitt responds like an extension of his body. He's flown this aircraft for 8 months. He knows every vibration, every quirk in the control surfaces. As he turns west, he passes through the debris field of his first kill. It's still falling, pieces of aluminum tumbling in the thin air catching sunlight. A wing section, recognizable by its shape, something that might be a tail assembly. Smaller pieces, instruments probably, or parts of the fuselage structure, and other things. Soft things that he doesn't look at too closely. 3 parachutes, only 3, from a crew of 10. He watches them drift. The men beneath them are too far away to see as individuals, just dark specks suspended beneath white canopies. They'll land somewhere in Germany. If they're lucky, Wehrmacht soldiers will reach them first, regular army. If they're unlucky, it'll be SS, or worse, local civilians who've just watched American bombs destroy their homes. Mayer has heard the stories. What happens to downed American airmen in some towns? He doesn't think about it. One of the parachutes isn't drifting right. It's oscillating, swinging in wide arcs. The shroud lines might be tangled, or the man beneath it might be wounded, unconscious, unable to control his descent. As Mayer watches, the parachute inverts, collapses completely. The tiny figure beneath it accelerates suddenly, falling free. He looks away. His wingman pulls alongside. Lieutenant Weiss, 22 years old, a farm boy from Bavaria who still writes to his mother every week. Weiss gives him a thumbs up, probably grinning behind his oxygen mask. 3 confirmed kills today. His first mission using the head-on technique. He thinks they've won something. Mayer doesn't respond. He's doing math again. Different math this time. 9 bombers shot down. His gruppe got maybe 20 total. The other fighter units in the area, Jagdgeschwader 1, JG-11, the FW-190 squadrons from Rhine. Maybe they got 50, 60 total. Say 80 American bombers destroyed. The Americans sent 300. 220 made it through. 220 bombers, each carrying 6,000 pounds of high explosives, now approaching Schweinfurt, where Germany produces 60% of its ball bearings that go into aircraft engines, tank transmissions, U-boat propeller shafts. He's defended nothing. He's killed 90 men and defended nothing. The mathematics don't work, can't work. Every German fighter pilot knows the numbers. The Luftwaffe has maybe 1,500 single-engine fighters available on the Western Front. Sounds impressive until you realise the Americans have, 5,000 heavy bombers? 10,000? And they're building more, building them faster than Germany can shoot them down. Mayer learned this ratio 6 months ago, chose not to think about it too hard. Easier to focus on tactics, technique, the immediate problem of the next engagement. But watching those replacement formations crawl across the horizon, the math becomes unavoidable. His aircraft crosses the Rhine. Friendly territory now, though friendly is a relative term. Below him, the city of Mainz is a geometric pattern of streets and buildings. From 20,000 feet, cities look like circuit boards, clean, abstract, no smoke yet. The Americans haven't bombed Mainz today, tomorrow, maybe next week, eventually. Weiss's voice crackles over the radio. Granite Leader, that was incredible. 9 kills. They'll probably give you the Knight's Cross for this. Maybe they will. Mayer already has the German Cross in gold. The Knight's Cross with oak leaves would mean promotion, probably. A parade. Göring might even shake his hand, tell him he's a credit to the Fatherland 9 bombers. 220 got through. Maintain radio discipline, Granite 4, Mayer says. His voice is still calm, still professional. That's important. The men look to him for confidence, for certainty. A leader who doubts is a leader who gets his men killed. But inside, something is shifting. Not doubt, exactly. Realization. The base appears on the horizon, Wiesbaden-Erbenheim, with its camouflaged hangars and dispersed aircraft revetments, home, such as it is. Hot showers, real food, maybe a few hours of sleep before the next scramble. The control tower is already clearing him for landing priority approach for returning aces. As he enters the traffic pattern, he sees the ground crew rushing out to service the aircraft. They'll refuel him, rearm him, patch the bullet hole in his wing. 2 hours, maybe 3, and he'll be ready to fly again. Ready to shoot down more bombers, which will be replaced by more bombers, which will be replaced by more bombers. The landing is smooth, main gear touching first, tail wheel settling gently. He taxis to his revetment. The ground crew chief is already waiting, smiling, giving him a salute that's almost jaunty word has spread. 9 kills. The man is probably thinking, we're winning, look what our pilots can do. Mayer shuts down the engine. The sudden silence after hours of engine roar is almost painful. His ears are ringing. They always ring after combat. He sits in the cockpit for a moment, not moving. Through the windscreen, he can see other fighters landing damaged aircraft, some trailing smoke. One Messerschmitt comes in with its landing gear only partially extended, scraping down the runway in a shower of Sparks casualties. They took casualties too. He'll find out how many at the debriefing. He thinks about the 3 parachutes, the one that collapsed. He thinks about the replacement formations. The ground crew chief is at his wing now, climbing up to help him out of the cockpit. 9 confirmed, Herr Major. The radio officer counted them all. 9, this is... Get me refueled, Mayer says. Fast as you can. They'll be sending more. The chief's smile falters slightly. Sir, surely you're not going back up today. You've been flying for... They'll be sending more, Mayer repeats. They always send more. He climbs out of the cockpit. His legs are shaky. Adrenaline crash. Dehydration. 4 hours in a cramped cockpit at altitude. He's 28 years old and his back hurts like he's 50. Every pilot's back hurts. The G-forces accumulate, vertebra by vertebra, mission by mission. The intelligence officer is already approaching with his clipboard, ready to debrief. Mayer will tell him about the head-on attacks, the success rate, the technique. It will all be recorded, analysed, turned into doctrine. Other pilots will learn from his success. They'll shoot down more bombers. The Americans will send more bombers. He looks east towards Schweinfurt. He can't see the city from here, it's too far, but he can see the smoke, a column of black rising into the afternoon sky. The bombing has already begun. 220 B-17s dropping their loads on the ball bearing factories tomorrow. Germany will produce fewer ball bearings. Next week, the Americans will come back with 300 more bombers. Eventually, how long? Months? A year? Germany will produce no ball bearings at all. And then what? Then the tanks stop moving. The aircraft stop flying. The U-boats stop hunting. The U-boats stop hunting. Mayer has just had the best 11 minutes of his career. 9 confirmed kills. It will probably be the high point of his entire war. Pilots will study his gun camera footage for years, and it changed nothing. Nothing at all. The intelligence officer is talking to him. Mayer realizes he hasn't heard a word. Extremely impressive, Herr Major. If you could just walk me through the approach angle on the first attack. Later, Mayer says. I need to make a call. He doesn't need to make a call. He just needs to be alone for a moment, to stand here in the afternoon sun and process what he's just understood. Germany is going to lose this war. Not because German pilots lack courage, not because the Luftwaffe lacks skill or tactics or determination. They'll lose because mathematics doesn't care about courage, because America has 48 states, 50 million workers, factories that can produce one B-17 every 63 minutes. Because behind every bomber he shoots down, there are 10 more already built and 20 more on the assembly line. He's known this abstractly for months, maybe longer. But knowing something and understanding it are different things. The intelligence officer is still waiting. Weiss is climbing out of his fighter, laughing about something with his ground crew. Other pilots are gathering near the operations building, probably already telling stories about the engagement, the camaraderie of survival, the pride of victory. They don't see what he sees. Or maybe they do, and they've just chosen not to think about it. Mayer lights a cigarette. His hands are shaking now. Not during combat, never during combat, but now, safely on the ground, his hands are shaking. The debriefing room smells like coffee, cigarette smoke, and sweat. 12 pilots crammed into a space designed for 8. Their flight suits still damp, their faces still creased with oxygen mask pressure marks. Some are animated, hands slicing through the air as they recreate their attack runs. Others sit quietly, staring at nothing. Mayer recognizes the quiet ones. They're the ones who watched their wingman go down, or made a mistake that got someone killed, or saw something in the bomber they shot down. A face through the plexiglass, maybe. Human enough to remember Major Wilhelm Reinhardt runs the debriefing. He's older, 43, a career officer with a face like weathered leather. Flew in the last war, knows what defeat looks like. He's going through the kill confirmations methodically, cross-referencing gun camera footage with observer reports from the ground. Granite Leader, 9 confirmed, Granite 2, 2 confirmed, Granite 3, 3 confirmed. His voice is monotone, professional. He's done this hundreds of times. The room erupts in congratulations when Mayer's 9 kills are confirmed, pilots slapping his shoulders, Weiss practically glowing with reflected glory. Someone produces a bottle of schnapps from somewhere. Against regulations, but who's going to report it? They pour shots into coffee cups, tin mugs, whatever's available. To Granite Leader, someone shouts. 9 kills! 9! Mayer accepts the schnapps, doesn't drink it, sets the cup down on the table in front of him and watches the clear liquid catch the light from the overhead bulb. Reinhardt continues. Total confirmed kills for today's engagement. 71 enemy bombers destroyed. Probable kills, 14 damaged, approximately 40. He looks up from his clipboard. Gentlemen, this is the highest single-day kill count this gruppe has ever achieved. You should all be proud. 71. Mayer does the math automatically now. The Americans sent 315 bombers. He heard the count from the early warning stations. 71 destroyed means 244 made it through to Schweinfurt. Our losses, Reinhardt continues, and the room goes quiet. 4 aircraft destroyed, 2 pilots killed in action, 3 pilots missing, presumed captured, 1 aircraft damaged beyond repair. 4 pilots. Mayer knew 3 of them. Hauptmann Krebs, who had a photograph of his 2 daughters taped to his instrument panel, Lieutenant Fischer, who was supposed to get married next month. Oberfeldwebel Schultz, 41 years old, who'd flown in Spain before the war even started, and someone else. He's trying to remember who the 4th pilot was when Reinhardt says the name. Lieutenant Hartmann. Hartmann. 20 years old, red hair. Terrible singer. Always volunteered for the dangerous missions. Mayer had recommended him for promotion last week. Hartmann was seen colliding with an enemy bomber, Reinhardt says. No parachute observed. The bomber also went down. A mutual kill. 1 German pilot for 1 American bomber. 10 American aircrew. The arithmetic says Germany won that exchange. 1 life for 10. But Germany has 80 million people. America has 140 million. And America isn't being bombed. American factories aren't being destroyed. American pilots train in safe skies over Texas and Arizona, not in hasty courses with fuel shortages and instructors who are themselves barely trained. The arithmetic says Germany won. The mathematics say Germany lost. Weiss is talking. Straight through the formation, I swear I saw pieces of his aircraft flying off, but Granite Leader just kept flying, lined up the next one. Mayer stands up. The scrape of his chair silences the room. "Where are you going?" Reinhardt asks. "We're not finished with the debriefing. I need air." Mayer moves toward the door. "Major, the General Major specifically requested a detailed report on your head-on attack technique. I'll write it tonight." He's outside before anyone can stop him. The afternoon sun is lower now, turning everything gold. The base is a hive of activity. Ground crews working on damaged aircraft, fuel trucks rumbling between revetments, a group of new replacement pilots being shown to their quarters. Replacements. Germany has those too. They arrive every week. Boys straight out of flight school with maybe 60 hours of flight time, barely able to land in crosswinds, and they throw them into combat against American pilots who have 200 hours of training, who've practiced gunnery until they can hit a towed target 9 times out of 10. The replacements last, on average, 4 missions. The smart ones, the lucky ones, maybe 10 Mayer walks to the edge of the airfield, to the fence that separates the base from the farmland beyond. There's a tree here, an old oak that somehow survived when they cleared the land for the runway. He leans against it, lights another cigarette. He can still see the smoke from Schweinfurt. The column is larger now, darker. The bombing must have been effective. Good for the Americans, bad for Germany. Bad for the workers in those factories, some of whom are probably German, but most of whom are probably forced labourers from Poland, France, Russia. People who didn't ask to be part of this war but are dying in it anyway. "Sir," Mayer turns. It's Weiss. Of course it's Weiss. Young, eager, still high on adrenaline and victory. "You should celebrate," Weiss says. 9 kills. That's incredible. That's history. "It's mathematics," Mayer says. "Sir, how many bombers did you see coming behind the formations we attacked?" Weiss hesitates. I don't know. A lot. But we shot down 71 today. 71? They sent over 300. They'll send 300 more tomorrow or the next day, and we'll shoot down 70 again maybe, if we're lucky and good and the weather cooperates, and they'll send 300 more the day after that." Weiss is quiet for a moment. Then, "But we're winning. You saw it yourself. 9 kills. If every pilot could achieve even half that ratio." "We can't." Mayer takes a drag from his cigarette. "You're talented, Weiss. You got 3 today. That's excellent for your 4th mission. But you won't get 3 every mission. Most missions you'll get 1, maybe 2 if everything breaks right. Some missions you'll get none. And some missions..." He stops. "Some missions what? Some missions you won't come back." The words hang in the air between them. Weiss looks away, toward the flight line where ground crews are still working on the fighters. "My father was at Verdun," Weiss says quietly. "In the last war. He told me. He said wars aren't won by pessimists." "Your father's right, but they're not won by optimists either. They're won by logistic steel, oil, population, industrial capacity." Mayer drops his cigarette, grinds it out with his boot heel. "You know what America produces in a year? 10,000 heavy bombers, 10,000. We shoot down 1,000 of them, if we're very good and very lucky, and they still have 9,000. Plus the 9,000 they'll build next year." "So what?" Weiss's voice has an edge now, anger or maybe fear. "What are you saying? That we should just give up? Stop fighting?" "I'm saying you should understand what you're fighting and what it costs." The Führer says, "I don't care what the Führer says." Mayer regrets the words immediately. That's the kind of talk that gets you reported, that gets you pulled from flight status and sent to a disciplinary unit on the Eastern Front if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, it gets you shot. But Weiss doesn't report him. He just stands there looking young and confused and scared. "I'm sorry," Mayer says. Forget I said that, it's been a long day." 9 kills is a long day, Weiss says, trying for humour. It doesn't quite land. They stand in silence for a moment. In the distance, an air raid siren begins to wail. Practice alert, Or maybe another mission already forming up. The Americans sometimes send 2 waves on the same day. Hit you when you're tired, when your fighters are still being refueled and rearmed. I saw one of their parachutes collapse, Mayer says. Doesn't know why he's telling Weiss this. From my first kill, 3 men got out and one of the parachutes collapsed, just inverted, and fell. That's not your fault, sir. He was the enemy. You did your job. I know. And he does know. That's not what's bothering him. What bothers him is that it doesn't bother him enough. He killed 90 men today, killed them efficiently, professionally, with excellent marksmanship and tactical precision. And the part that haunts him isn't the killing, it's the futility. He killed 90 men, and it didn't matter. Sir, they're asking for you in operations, another pilot running across the field toward them. The General Major is on the phone. He wants to speak with you personally. Of course he does. 9 kills is propaganda gold. They'll want interviews, probably photographs for the newspapers, maybe a radio address. Look what our brave pilots are doing to the American terror bombers. Tell him I'll be there in 5 minutes, Mayer says. The pilot salutes and runs back toward the operations building. Weiss is still standing there waiting for... what? Permission? Absolution? An explanation that makes sense of what they're doing? You flew well today, Mayer tells him. 3 confirmed kills on your 4th mission. That's impressive. Keep doing what you're doing, follow the doctrine, don't take unnecessary risks, and... He pauses. Write to your mother tonight. Tell her you're safe. Don't wait. Yes, sir. Weiss salutes and walks away. Mayer watches him go. Statistically, Weiss has maybe 3 months left. Maybe 6 if he's talented and lucky. The turnover rate for fighter pilots is approaching 80%. New pilots arrive, fly a handful of missions and disappear. Killed, wounded, captured. The veterans, the ones who survive through skill or luck or some combination of both, they just keep flying, keep fighting. Because what else is there? Surrender isn't an option. Defeat isn't an option. You fly until you can't fly anymore. Mayer starts walking back toward the operations building. His legs still hurt. His back still hurts. Tomorrow he'll fly again. And the day after that. Until one day he doesn't come back, or the war ends, or what? Germany wins? With what? With pilots who can shoot down 9 bombers in 11 minutes while hundreds more fly past. The General Major will congratulate him. Give him a medal probably. Tell him he's a hero. And Mayer will accept it because that's what you do. That's the role. The performance. But tonight, when he's alone in his quarters, when he closes his eyes and tries to sleep, he'll see those formations on the horizon. Silver against blue. Endless. He'll see the mathematics of infinity. And he'll understand with a certainty that feels like drowning that courage means nothing when you're fighting arithmetic. The General Major's voice crackles through the telephone receiver like static electricity, enthusiastic, almost giddy. 9 confirmed kills, Mayer. 9! Do you understand what this means? The newsreels will... the papers will... He's talking so fast his words blur together. I've already contacted Berlin Goebbels himself wants to feature this. The head-on technique, the precision, the sheer audacity of it. This is exactly what the German people need to see right now. Mayer holds the phone away from his ear slightly. Reinhardt is sitting across the desk watching him with an expression that might be sympathy, or might be warning, hard to tell. Yes, Herr General Major, Mayer says. It was a successful engagement. Successful? It's unprecedented. Do you know what the Reich Minister said when I called him? He said, finally, someone who understands what we're fighting for. Those were his exact words. Finally, someone who, Herr General Major, if I may, Mayer interrupts as gently as possible. The head-on technique works, but it's high risk. We lost Hartmann today using the same approach. The closure rates mean any mistake is... Hartmann took an enemy bomber with him. 1 German pilot for 1 enemy aircraft and 10 enemy crew. That's a victory by any calculation. There's that word again. Calculation. Victory. As if you can reduce human lives to ledger entries and call it winning. Of course, Herr General Major. Listen to me, Mayer. The voice becomes more serious now, more controlled. I know you're tired. I know today was difficult, but you need to understand the larger picture. Morale on the home front is fragile. The bombings in Hamburg, the losses in the east, He stops himself. Probably shouldn't be discussing such things on an unsecured line. The people need heroes. They need to believe we can win this. And you, today, you proved we can. Mayer wants to say, I proved I can shoot down 9 bombers while 244 others complete their mission. He doesn't. What do you need from me, sir? A photographer will arrive tomorrow morning. Propaganda ministry. They'll want shots of you with your aircraft. Maybe some of you planning an attack with your pilots. Natural poses, nothing too staged. And then, papers shuffling on the other end of the line. Yes, they want you in Berlin on Thursday. Radio interview, possibly a newsreel segment. You'll need to wear your dress uniform. All decorations. They're fast-tracking your Knight's Cross. It should be ready by Wednesday. Thursday 3 days from now. Which means he won't fly those 3 days. Won't be here when the Americans come back. And they will come back. Sir, your gruppe needs you to do this. They need the fuel allocation that comes with good publicity, the replacement aircraft that come with Berlin's attention, the priority status that comes with being a propaganda success. The General Major pauses. You understand what I'm saying? Mayer understands perfectly. Play the hero, give them their newsreels and radio interviews, smile for the cameras, and in return his pilots get the resources they need to survive a little longer. It's a transaction. Everything is a transaction. Yes, Herr General Major, Thursday in Berlin. Excellent. Reinhardt has the details. And Mayer, smile in the photographs. You always look too serious. The people want to see confidence. They want to see that we're winning. The line goes dead. Mayer sets down the receiver carefully, as if it might explode. Reinhardt slides a folder across the desk. Train tickets, hotel reservation in Berlin, contact information for the propaganda ministry liaison. You'll have a handler for the entire trip. Major Becker. He's competent, won't waste your time. A handler. Someone to make sure you say the right things. Don't look at me like that. You're too valuable now, too visible. They can't risk you going off script. Reinhardt lights a cigarette, offers one to Mayer. How many did you really see? Coming behind the formations. So Reinhardt heard, or guessed. The man doesn't miss much. Hundreds, Mayer says. Maybe more, hard to count at that distance. Reinhardt exhales smoke toward the ceiling. I flew in the last war, 1917, 1918. By the end, we knew. We knew we were losing, but we kept flying because what else were we going to do? And because the men beside us were depending on us. And because maybe, just maybe, if we fought hard enough, if we were skilled enough, we could hold on long enough for... He stops. For what? I don't know. A miracle, I suppose. Did the miracle come? We lost. The Kaiser abdicated, Germany starved, and then 20 years later, here we are again. Reinhardt taps ash into a metal tray. You're thinking about it too much, Mayer. That's your problem. You're trying to see the whole chessboard when you should just focus on your next move. My next move is apparently Berlin smiling for cameras. Your next move is keeping this gruppe operational, and if that means spending 3 days lying to reporters about how we're winning, then that's what you do. Your pilots need fuel, ammunition, replacement aircraft. Berlin controls all of that. So you go to Berlin, you tell them what they want to hear, and you come back with enough resources to maybe save a few lives. It's the most honest thing Reinhardt has said to him in months, maybe years. The photographer arrives at 0800, Reinhardt continues. Get some sleep. Try to look heroic in the morning. Not, he gestures at Mayer's face, like you're attending a funeral. Yes, sir. Mayer stands to leave, but Reinhardt stops him. One more thing, off the record. The report you're going to write about the head-on technique. Yes? Make it technical? Very technical. Deflection angles, closure rates, ammunition expenditure patterns. Don't... Reinhardt chooses his words carefully. Don't include your thoughts about the strategic situation, the mathematics you mentioned to young Weiss. So Weiss did report the conversation. Or someone overheard. Or Reinhardt just knows him well enough to guess, I understand. Good. Because some conversations are treason, Mayer. Even when they're true, especially when they're true. The pilot quarters are quiet. Most of the group is either still at dinner or already asleep. Mayer's room is small. A bed, a desk, a locker for his personal belongings, Spartan. Efficient. Home for the last 18 months. He sits at the desk without turning on the light. Outside, he can hear the distant sound of aircraft engines' night fighters taking off, probably. The Americans sometimes send bombers at night now, though not as frequently as the British. There's a letter on his desk. He recognises the handwriting. His sister, Eleanor. She writes every week without fail. Cheerful letters full of small details about life in Munich, carefully avoiding any mention of the war, the bombings, the rationing, the fear. He doesn't open it. Can't open it tonight. Because Elena still believes. She believes Germany is winning. She believes her brother is a hero fighting for something noble and just. And Mayer can't bring himself to write back and tell her the truth. What would he even say? Dear Elena, I killed 90 men today. It didn't matter. Germany's losing and there's nothing I can do about it. Love, Egon. He pulls out a blank piece of paper instead. Starts to write the technical report Reinhardt requested. Approach angles. Optimal firing distance. The advantages of attacking from the front quarter versus the rear quarter. Clinical, precise, exactly what they want. But his hand stops after 2 paragraphs. He's thinking about Hartmann, 20 years old, collided with a bomber, no parachute. Did he have time to understand what was happening? Or was it instantaneous? 1 second flying, the next second nothing. There's a bottle in his locker, schnapps, saved from last month's ration. He pours himself a glass, then another. The alcohol burns but doesn't help. Someone knocks on the door. Come in. It's Weiss, still in his flight suit. He looks uncertain, like he's not sure if he should be here. I wanted to apologise, sir, for earlier. I shouldn't have. I didn't mean to question. You didn't do anything wrong. Mayer gestures to the chair. Sit. Weiss sits, doesn't quite relax. The other pilots are celebrating. They're asking about you. They want you to join them. Tell them I'm working on a report. I told them that they said. Weiss hesitates. They said you're always working on reports, that you never celebrate anymore. It's true. Mayer used to join them, used to drink and laugh and tell stories, used to believe that what they were doing mattered. When did he stop? 6 months ago? A year? It's hard to pinpoint exactly when belief becomes performance. I'm tired, Weiss. It's been a long day. 9 kills isn't just a long day, sir. It's... Weiss stops, tries again. The men need to see you. They need to know that you think today was a victory, that what we're doing matters. So even Weiss understands. Even this 22-year-old farm boy from Bavaria understands that leadership is theatre, that you perform confidence even when you feel none, that you lie to keep morale intact. Tomorrow, Mayer says. Tomorrow I'll celebrate with them after the photographer leaves, I promise. It's a lie. Tomorrow he'll be polite but distant. The day after he'll be on a train to Berlin. By the time he gets back, half the pilots in that celebration will be dead or missing. That's how it works now. That's how it's been working for months. Weiss stands. Lingers near the door like he wants to say something else. What is it? Mayer asks. My mother's letter? The one you said I should write. What should I tell her? Tell her the truth, Mayer thinks. Tell her you're flying missions with a 70% casualty rate. Tell her you wake up every morning wondering if this is the day you die. Tell her the war is lost and you're dying for nothing. Tell her you're safe, Mayer says. Tell her you're with good men. Tell her you're proud to serve. But tell her what she needs to hear, Weiss, not what's true. Weiss nods slowly, salutes, leaves. Mayer sits alone in the dark. Outside, the night fighters are returning. He can tell by the sound of the engines, the slight roughness that comes from hours of high-altitude flight. They're landing one by one, finding their way home through the darkness. Tomorrow he'll pose for photographs, smile for the cameras, say the right things about duty and honour and victory. He'll wear his dress uniform with all its medals and decorations, each one representing some moment of violence that seemed meaningful at the time, but now just feels like numbers on a ledger. He'll lie. He'll perform. He'll be the hero they need him to be. Because the alternative is telling the truth. And the truth would break morale, would spread like cancer through the gruppe, would get men killed faster than enemy bullets. So, he'll lie. He picks up his sister's letter, opens it this time. It's full of small kindnesses. News about her garden, a funny story about their neighbour's cat, a recipe she wants to share with him when he comes home on leave. She ends the letter the way she always ends it. Stay safe. We're all so proud of you. Come home soon. Come home soon. as if there's a home to come back to, as if Munich isn't being bombed regularly now, as if there will be a Germany left when this is over. Mayer folds the letter carefully, places it in his desk drawer with all the others he'll write back eventually. Tell her he's fine, tell her not to worry. Tell her all the comfortable lies that keep families functioning during wartime, but not tonight. Tonight he's too tired to lie even to his sister. He finishes the technical report by candlelight, writes it exactly the way they want it, clinical, precise, devoid of context or consequence, a manual for killing bombers more efficiently. Nothing about the hundreds of bombers that got through, nothing about the mathematics that don't work, nothing about Hartmann's body falling into German farmland, or the 3 parachutes, or the smoke rising from Schweinfurt. Just deflection angles and optimal firing positions, just the performance of victory. The train to Berlin smells like coal smoke, unwashed bodies, and something else. Fear, maybe, or just exhaustion. Mayer sits in a first-class compartment reserved for officers, watching the German countryside slide past the window. August fields turning brown, small villages with church steeples. Bomb craters everywhere now, even this far from major cities. The landscape is a geography of destruction. A woman gets on at Fulda, maybe 40, travelling with 2 children. She sees his uniform, the medals, the Luftwaffe insignia. Her face transforms. She approaches before he can stop her. "Thank you," she says. Her voice cracks slightly. "Thank you for protecting us. My husband, he's in the east. But knowing men like you are defending our skies, it helps. It helps us sleep at night." The children stare at him with wide eyes. The girl is maybe 7, the boy younger. They look hungry. Everyone looks hungry now except the officers and the party officials. "Just doing my duty, Mom," Mayer says. The words taste like ash. "You're a hero, a real hero. My children, they need to see..." She's crying now, actually crying. "They need to see that Germany has men like you, that we're going to win this. We're going to win, aren't we?" The entire compartment is watching now, waiting for his answer. An old man in a threadbare suit, a young couple holding hands, a soldier missing his left arm, all of them looking at him like he has answers. "Germany will prevail," he says. The script comes automatically now. The Führer has a plan. Our forces are... He can't finish, can't push the lie all the way out. The woman doesn't notice she's already smiling, wiping her tears, telling her children, See, the officer says we're going to win." The boy asks, "Are you a pilot?" "Yes." "Did you shoot down enemy planes?" "Yes." "How many?" Everyone in the compartment leans forward slightly, waiting. This is what they need. Numbers, proof, something to believe in. 9, Mayer says quietly. 9 in one day. The compartment erupts. The old man starts clapping. The one-armed soldier nods approval. The woman's face glows with something that might be hope or might be desperation. Hard to tell the difference anymore. 9, the boy shouts. Did you see them crash? Did they explode? That's enough questions, the mother says. But she's looking at Mayer with gratitude so intense it's almost painful. You must be very brave. Brave, the word everyone uses, as if courage means anything when you're solving an arithmetic problem with bullets. He wasn't brave yesterday. He was competent, skilled, professional. Brave is something else entirely. It's what Hartmann was, flying into a collision because he couldn't break off in time. It's what those American crews were, climbing into bombers knowing 70 of them wouldn't come home. The woman returns to her seat. The compartment settles back into its rhythm, the clack of wheels on rails, the swaying motion, the landscape rolling past. But now they're all stealing glances at him. The hero! The man who shot down 9 American bombers in 11 minutes. He closes his eyes and pretends to sleep. It's easier than watching their hope. Berlin appears through the train window like a fever dream. Parts of it are still magnificent. The grand boulevards, the government buildings, the monuments to German power. Other parts are simply gone, entire blocks reduced to rubble, buildings with their facades blown off, exposing rooms like dollhouses, craters where homes once stood. The train station is chaos, soldiers everywhere, moving to the front, coming from the front, going on leave, returning from leave. civilians with suitcases and bundles, children running between the crowds, loudspeakers blaring announcements, the smell of unwashed humanity and diesel fuel. Major Becker finds him immediately, 35, maybe 40, with the kind of face that's professionally pleasant. Propaganda ministry through and through, good suit, polished shoes, perfect posture. He greets Mayer with enthusiasm that seems genuine but probably isn't. "Major Mayer, an honour, a genuine honour. I've read your report. The head-on technique, brilliant, simply brilliant." He's already guiding Mayer through the crowd, moving with the confidence of someone who knows how to navigate bureaucracy. "We have a car waiting. Hotel first. Get you cleaned up. Then we have a meeting with Herr Dr. Goebbels at 1500 hours. Goebbels himself. He insisted, "Said, your achievement represents exactly the kind of German ingenuity that needs to be highlighted. You understand, of course, that the situation requires careful management. The home front needs..." Becker catches himself. "I'm sorry. You must be tired from the journey. We can discuss details later." The car is a black Mercedes, polished to a mirror shine despite the dust and rubble everywhere. A driver in SS uniform holds the door. Mayer gets in, Becker slides in beside him, and they're moving through Berlin's wounded streets. "The hotel is excellent," Becker says. "Hot water, real coffee, a proper meal. We've arranged everything. This afternoon is just a preliminary meeting. Getting aligned on messaging tomorrow is the radio interview, then newsreel footage at Tempelhof. Friday morning you're back on the train, efficient, professional. We respect your time." They pass a park where children are playing in a massive bomb crater, treating it like an adventure. Their mothers watch from the edges, faces hollow with strain. Further down, work crews are clearing rubble from what was probably an apartment building. A sign propped against the ruins reads, "Survivors report to district office." "The enemy thinks they can break our spirit with bombs," Becker says, following Mayer's gaze. "But look, children playing, people rebuilding. This is what you're fighting for, Major. This resilience, this unbreakable German spirit." The children in the crater look thin. Their clothes are patched and repatched. One is wearing shoes that don't fit, probably scavenged from rubble or inherited from an older sibling or from someone who died. "How many air raids has Berlin had this month?" Mayer asks. "That's not something we typically discuss in..." "How many?" Becker glances at the driver. 17, mostly at night, the British. But our defences are improving. Just last week we shot down 43 enemy bombers in a single raid. 43 out of how many? Mayer doesn't ask. He already knows the answer won't be comforting. The hotel is in a district that's been largely spared, or maybe just repaired quickly for propaganda purposes. The lobby is ornate, almost aggressively luxurious. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, uniformed staff who bow slightly when Becker leads him through. "Your room is on the 4th floor. The Reich Ministry has arranged for your uniforms to be pressed. A barber will come at 1400 hours. And," Becker hands him a folder, "these are suggested talking points for your meetings. Nothing you have to memorize, just themes to keep in mind. Courage, determination, German technical superiority, the certainty of final victory." Final victory. Endsieg. The words they use now instead of just victory. As if adding final makes it more believable. "What if someone asks about our losses?" Mayer says. "You defer to official Wehrmacht communiques. You say that while Germany honours its fallen heroes, the enemy's losses are unsustainable. You emphasise the kill ratio, 71 enemy bombers destroyed for 4 of our fighters. That's 17-1. Devastating for the enemy. Except the enemy has 10,000 bombers, and Germany has 1,500 fighters. But Becker already knows this. Everyone knows this. They just can't say it out loud." The meeting with Goebbels happens in a building that looks untouched by war, perfect paint, perfect windows, perfect everything. As if they've poured all of Germany's remaining resources into maintaining this one block, this one facade of normalcy. The Reich Minister for Propaganda is shorter than Mayer expected. Sharp eyes, a face that's somehow both intelligent and cruel. He's reviewing papers when Mayer enters. Doesn't look up immediately, a power play. making the hero wait. When he does look up, his smile is calculated. Major Mayer, the man who shot down 9 American terror bombers in 11 minutes, sit, please. Mayer sits. Becker hovers near the door like a nervous dog. I've been thinking about how to present your achievement, Goebbels says. He speaks quickly, precisely, like he's dictating an article. The German people need heroes, but not just any heroes. They need smart heroes, strategic heroes. Men who prove German ingenuity can overcome American industrial mass production. You understand? I understand, Herr Minister. Do you? Goebbels leans forward. Because I think you might be smart enough to also understand our situation. Our actual situation. Which makes you either very useful or very dangerous. The room goes quiet. Becker looks like he wants to disappear. I'm a fighter pilot, Herr Minister. I shoot down enemy aircraft. That's what I know. Goebbels taps his fingers on the desk. Let me tell you what I know. I know that American bomber production exceeded our entire fighter production last quarter. I know our oil supplies are critical. I know the Eastern Front is complicated. I know all the things we can't say in public because saying them would destroy morale and lose the war faster than any battlefield defeat. He stands, walks to the window outside. Berlin stretches away, a mixture of grandeur and ruins. So we tell necessary lies, Goebbels continues. Not falsehoods. Exactly. Selective truths. Emphasis management. Your 9 kills are real. The American losses are real. We simply don't mention that they replaced those losses before you landed. We create a narrative of German excellence defeating American quantity. We give people something to believe in while we... He stops, turns to face Mayer, while we buy time. Time for what, Herr Minister? For the wonder weapons, for the political situation to shift, for the Americans and Soviets to turn on each other, for whatever miracle might still be possible. His voice drops. Or time for Germany to negotiate terms that preserve something. Anything. It's the most honest thing anyone in Berlin has said, and it terrifies Mayer more than combat ever has, because it means even Goebbels, architect of propaganda, master of lies, understands the mathematics. Tomorrow's interview, Goebbels says, returning to business. You'll discuss your technique, your courage, your certainty that Germany will prevail. You'll inspire the workers in our factories to build more fighters. You'll inspire our allies to maintain faith in German victory. You'll give the enemy pause, make them fear our fighter pilots enough that maybe, just maybe, they slow their bombing campaign. And if they don't, then you've bought us another few weeks, another few months, whatever time we can steal. Goebbels returns to his desk. You're dismissed, Major. Becker will handle the logistics. Remember, you're not lying tomorrow. You're choosing which truths to emphasize. That's all propaganda is. Strategic truth management. That night, in his hotel room with its hot water and real coffee and all the luxuries most Germans can't access anymore, Mayer stands at the window watching searchlights probe the sky. No air raid sirens yet, but they will come. They always come eventually. He thinks about the woman on the train, her children's hungry faces, their hope when he said Germany would prevail. He thinks about Weiss, writing letters to his mother, about Hartmann, 20 years old, falling out of the sky with no parachute. He thinks about 9 B-17 bombers burning, 90 men dead, and 240 bombers completing their mission. Tomorrow he'll smile for the cameras, he'll say the right things. He'll be the hero they need him to be. Because what else can he do? Tell the truth? Destroy morale? Hasten the defeat? So he'll perform, he'll lie. He'll give them their strategic truth management. And somewhere over Germany, American factories are building more bombers. Right now, this very second. While he stands in this hotel room trying to justify his role in the performance, the searchlights sweep across the sky, looking for enemies that aren't there yet, but they're coming. They're always coming. And no amount of propaganda can change the mathematics. The radio studio is smaller than Mayer expected. Just a table, 2 microphones, soundproofing panels on the walls. The technician adjusts levels while the interviewer, a woman named Fräulein Schneider with perfect hair and a voice like honey, reviews her notes. We'll keep it conversational, she says. Natural. The people need to hear confidence, not a military briefing, you understand? Mayer nods. He's wearing his dress uniform, every medal polished. His Knight's Cross arrived this morning, presented by some general whose name he's already forgotten. It hangs at his throat like an anchor. Becker is in the corner, watching, always watching, making sure the performance goes according to script. The red light comes on. Good evening, Germany. This is Radio Berlin, and tonight we have a very special guest, Major Egon Mayer, Luftwaffe fighter ace, the man who shot down nine American terror bombers in a single engagement just 4 days ago. Major Mayer, welcome. Thank you, Fräulein Schneider. 9 bombers. 9. Can you walk us through what that day was like? And so he does. He tells them about the head-on attack technique, the precision required, the courage of his fellow pilots. He emphasizes the German fighters' technical superiority, the training, the determination. He tells them what they need to hear. He doesn't mention the replacements on the horizon, doesn't mention Hartmann, doesn't mention the mathematics. What goes through your mind, Schneider asks, when you're diving toward an enemy bomber at 400 miles per hour, knowing they're shooting at you, knowing one mistake could be fatal? What goes through his mind? That he's 28 years old and his back hurts and he's tired all the time, that he's killed over 100 men in the past year and can't remember most of their faces, that every morning he wakes up and wonders if this is the day the mathematics finally catches up with him. I think about my duty, he says instead, about defending Germany, about the families counting on us to keep them safe, the woman on the train, her children's faces. That's what he thinks about, the hope in their eyes, and how he's helped maintain the lie that feeds it. And you'll continue fighting? Continue defending our skies? Until victory, Mayer says. The words come automatically now. Until Germany prevails. The interview lasts 20 minutes. Schneider is skilled. She makes him sound heroic without making him sound boastful. She emphasizes his humility, his dedication to his men, his certainty in German victory. When it's over, she shakes his hand warmly. That was perfect, she says. Absolutely perfect. The people needed to hear this. You have no idea how much hope you've just given them. Hope, built on lies and selective truth and strategic omissions. Becker approaches, beaming. Excellent, natural, confident. Exactly what we needed. The newsreel footage this afternoon will complement this beautifully. You're a natural at this, Major. I'd rather be flying. Of course, and you will be. But this, Becker gestures around the studio. This matters too. Wars aren't won just with bullets and bombs. They're won with morale, determination, belief. You're giving people reasons to keep working, keep fighting, keep believing. That's worth more than 9 bombers. That's worth everything, is it? Mayer wants to ask. Is a lie that postpones defeat better than a truth that might end the killing sooner? But he already knows Becker's answer, already knows his own answer, because here he is, performing on command. The newsreel shoot is at Tempelhof. They've positioned a Messerschmitt, not his but close enough, on the tarmac. The director is a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses who keeps talking about angles and composition and the narrative arc. We want you walking toward the aircraft, he says, confident stride. Look up at the sky. Yes, like that. Like you're already tracking enemy bombers. Perfect. Now put your hand on the wing. Feel the aircraft. You and the machine are one. Germany's technological excellence embodied. They shoot the same walk 17 times. 17 times Mayer walks toward a fighter he's never flown, touching it like he loves it, gazing at the sky like he sees enemies there. Each take identical to the last. Between takes, he notices the ground crew watching from the hangar's real pilots, real mechanics, men who know what combat actually looks like. Their expressions range from amusement to contempt. They know a performance when they see one. Beautiful, the director shouts. That's the one. Now we need you in the cockpit. Look determined, focused, the steely-eyed defender of the Reich. Mayer climbs into the cockpit. The controls are wrong, different model, different configuration. But the cameras can't see that. They can only see a hero in his natural element, ready to defend Germany from the terror bombers. A young woman approaches, makeup artist. She dabs powder on his face. For the lights, she explains, so you don't look shiny. She's maybe 22, pretty, probably has a sweetheart at the front, or had one. The mathematics apply to everyone eventually. You really shot down 9 planes, she asks quietly while powdering his forehead. Yes. My brother's a pilot, Stuka's, in Italy now. He says... She stops, looks around nervously. He says it's getting harder. That the Allies have so many fighters now, is that true? Mayer looks at her. Really looks at her. She's asking him for truth. for something real beneath the propaganda. The same question in her eyes that was in the train woman's eyes, except this time she's asking the opposite question. She's asking, "Are we losing?" "It's hard everywhere," he says carefully. "But German pilots are the best in the world. Your brother will be fine." The lie tastes worse each time he tells it. She nods, wants to believe him, probably doesn't. Returns to her makeup kit without another word. They film for 3 more hours. Mayer climbing into the cockpit from different angles, Mayer gesturing to other pilots, actors in uniforms, not real fighters. Mayer pointing at a map, though the map isn't of anywhere real. Mayer standing with his arms crossed, looking resolute. It's exhausting. More exhausting than combat somehow. At least in combat you're reacting, moving, thinking. This is just performance. Over and over and over. Finally, they're done. The director thanks him profusely. Becker appears with train tickets back to Wiesbaden-Erbenheim. "You've exceeded expectations," he says. "The minister is very pleased. This will air across Germany tomorrow night. Millions will see it. Millions will be inspired." Inspired to do what? Keep fighting a war they can't win? Send more boys like Weiss into the sky, knowing most won't survive their first month? "I need to get back to my gruppe," Mayer says. Of course, the car is waiting. "But before you go," Becker pulls him aside, voice dropping. "The minister wanted me to convey something. Unofficially, he knows you understand the real situation. He knows you're smart enough to see the mathematics, and he wants you to know that makes you valuable, but also makes you a liability if you ever speak publicly about what you understand. Do you follow?" It's not quite a threat, not quite a warning. Just a clarification of the rules. Play along and you're a hero. Speak the truth and you're a traitor. "I understand," Mayer says. Good. Becker relaxes slightly. "Your group has been approved for priority fuel allocation, by the way. Extra supplies for next month. That's your reward. Real resources for real pilots. Because you played your role. So that's the trade. 3 days of lies for enough fuel to fly for another month. Enough ammunition to shoot down more bombers who will be immediately replaced. Enough resources to delay defeat by some immeasurable fraction." The car takes him back through Berlin. It's late afternoon now, and the city is preparing for darkness. Blackout curtains going up. Searchlight crews manning their stations. The nightly ritual of waiting for bombs. They pass a school where children are being led to a shelter. A practice drill maybe, or a precautionary measure. The children hold hands in a line following their teacher underground. Some look scared. Others just look tired. Used to it. This is what he's defending, Mayer thinks. Not the Reich. Not Hitler's vision. These children. These tired, scared children who deserve better than the world their leaders have created for them. Or maybe that's just another lie he tells himself. Maybe he's defending nothing except his own survival. Maybe the performance has gone on so long he can't remember what's real anymore. The train back is nearly empty. Just soldiers, mostly. Wounded ones being rotated to rear area hospitals. Men missing limbs, missing eyes, missing pieces of themselves. They recognize his uniform, his medals. Some salute. Others just stare with hollow expressions. One man, maybe 30, with bandages covering half his face, speaks. "You're the one from the Radio 9 bombers?" "Yes." "That must feel good. Winning." Winning. Is that what he did? He shot down 9 bombers. The Americans sent 300 more the next day, then 300 more the day after that. While he was in Berlin performing for cameras, his group flew 2 missions. Shot down 23 bombers total, lost 3 pilots. The ratio is getting worse. Every week the Americans send more bombers with better fighter escorts. Every week the Luftwaffe has fewer experienced pilots and less fuel and older aircraft. The mathematics keep shifting in the wrong direction. "Did you win?" Mayer asks the wounded soldier. "Where did you serve?" "Kursk. Last month we destroyed 43 Soviet tanks in 1 day. Felt like winning." The man's visible eye is distant. "Then the next day they came back with 200 more, and the day after that, and the day after that. We ran out of ammunition before they ran out of tanks." There it is again. The same mathematics. The same arithmetic of exhaustion. It doesn't matter where you fight. East or west, ground or air. The enemy has more. Will always have more. Can absorb losses that would break Germany and come back stronger. "I'm sorry," Mayer says. "Don't be. You did your part. We all do our part. That's all we can do. The man closes his eye, even when our part doesn't matter. The train rolls through the darkness. Mayer watches his reflection in the window, a Luftwaffe Major with medals and a Knight's Cross, and the face of someone older than 28. When did he start looking so old? He thinks about the radio interview, the millions who will hear it, the hope it will give them. False hope, maybe, but hope nonetheless. Is false hope better than no hope? Is a comfortable lie better than a painful truth? He doesn't know anymore. What he knows is this. Tomorrow he'll fly again. He'll climb into his Messerschmitt and hunt for bombers. He'll use the head-on technique, or maybe vary it. Try something new. He'll shoot down as many as he can, maybe 2, maybe 5. If he's very skilled and very lucky, maybe 9 again, and the Americans will send more, and he'll fly again, and the Americans will send more, until one day he doesn't come back, or the war ends, or Germany collapses completely. The mathematics don't lie. Never have. He's known this since that moment over Schweinfurt, watching the horizon fill with silver aircraft. Known it with a certainty that feels like drowning. But knowing and accepting are different things. The train pulls into Wiesbaden-Erbenheim just after midnight. Weiss is waiting at the station, against regulations, but the boy never follows regulations when he's worried. "Major, they said you'd be on this train. How was Berlin? Did you meet anyone important? They're playing your radio interview in the mess hall tomorrow. Everyone's excited to hear it." Weiss looks young in the platform light, still eager, still believing. 3 days. Mayer was gone, and Weiss is still alive, still enthusiastic, still seeing victory where there's only arithmetic. "Walk with me," Mayer says. They walk through the darkened base together. Mayer tells him about Berlin, the interview, the newsreel. Makes it sound interesting, even exciting. Doesn't mention Goebbels' honesty or Becker's veiled threats, or the wounded soldiers on the train. 2 missions while you were gone, Weiss reports. I got 1 confirmed kill. Everyone's getting better at the head-on technique. Your report helped. They're teaching it at flight school now. Good, more pilots learning to shoot down bombers more efficiently, which means the Americans will lose bombers slightly faster, which means nothing, because the Americans will just build more bombers slightly faster. But Mayer doesn't say this. He congratulates Weiss, tells him he's proud, asks about the other pilots. "We lost Fischer," Weiss says quietly. "You remember Fischer? He was supposed to get married next month." Mayer remembers. Fischer was 23, good pilot, terrible poker player always humming while he worked on his aircraft. Dead now, probably burned to death in his cockpit, or blown apart by 50 caliber fire, or drowned in the North Sea if he made it that far before his aircraft gave out. And, Mayer asks, because there's always an and. And we got 2 new replacements, kids basically, straight from flight school. They're terrified. Of course they are. They're smart enough to understand the statistics even if they don't want to admit it. Mayer will meet them tomorrow, learn their names, try to keep them alive long enough to become competent. Watch most of them die anyway, because that's what happens to replacement pilots. They reach Mayer's quarters. Weiss lingers like he has something to say but can't find the words. "What is it?" Mayer asks. "Nothing, I'm glad you're back, sir. The gruppe needs you, we all do. The gruppe needs him, to lead them, to inspire them, to perform confidence and certainty, to be the hero from the radio interview who believes in victory." "Get some sleep," Mayer tells him. "We're probably flying tomorrow." "Yes, sir. Good night, sir." Weiss salutes and walks away, still that eager stride, still believing. Mayer watches him go and wonders how long before the mathematics catch up with him too. Inside his quarters, everything is exactly as he left it. The unfinished letter to his sister, the technical reports, the bottle of schnapps, nearly empty now. He sits at his desk and pulls out a fresh piece of paper, starts to write to Elena, gets 3 sentences in before he stops. What can he possibly tell her that isn't a lie? "Dear Elena, I'm safe, I'm well. Berlin was fine, the work continues. Generic, meaningless, true in the narrowest technical sense and false in every way that matters," he adds. "I hope you're staying safe during the air raids. Please go to the shelter every time the sirens sound. Don't take chances." That's true. That's real. His sister's safety is one of the few things that still feels solid in a world built on propaganda and lies. He signs it, seals it, will mail it tomorrow before the morning briefing. Then he opens the bottle of schnapps, pours himself one glass, then another. Outside he hears aircraft engines starting up night fighters probably. The British are coming. They come every night now like clockwork. The Americans by day, the British by night. Around the clock bombing relentless, methodical, mathematical. Mayer drinks and thinks about 9 bombers falling out of the sky. About 90 men dead. About the hundreds more still coming. About Goebbels and his strategic truth management. About Weiss and his mother's letters. About Fischer, who was supposed to get married next month, about all the lies. The ones he tells others, the ones others tell him, the ones he tells himself. And about the one truth he can't escape. He shot down 9 American bombers in 11 minutes, executed the perfect attack. Achieved what should have been impossible, and it changed nothing. Germany is still losing, the Americans are still coming, and tomorrow Egon Mayer will climb into his Messerschmitt and fly again. Because that's what soldiers do. They fight until they can't fight anymore, even when they know, truly know, with the kind of certainty that hollows you out from the inside, that the fight is already lost. Even when the only victory left is choosing how you lose, he finishes the schnapps, turns out the light, lies down on his bed without undressing. Outside, the night fighters are taking off one by one, climbing into the darkness to meet the bombers. The mathematics never sleep, neither does Egon Mayer.